Our thoughts are just
yeah.
not our friends. The thoughts are the mean girls.
Yes, Corey.
One.
Do you think men have that same challenge to the degree that women do?
No, because they're stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, just kidding.
Their brains are waffles. Their brains have holes in them. So just stuff goes right through. It doesn't.
It's sifting. It's like sifting flour.
You guys are so cute.
Yeah,
We're adorable.
thank you.
We are so adorable. It's hard to be us.
Well,
You're such a bitch. All right.
I'm having a hot flash, sweat dripping down the
Yeah.
back of my neck. But I look
Beautiful.
great, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
well, right back at you.
Yeah.
Megan.
Yeah, you're adorable.
Adorable.
Can we?
I would
just-
say
Can
pretty.
we jump in because we're
Okay.
recording
Yes.
Let's do that. Okay.
and you know I fall asleep in like 10, 15 minutes. So you know.
Today we've got Meghan Cathlin, who took a tumultuous childhood and turned it into a successful producing career.
Yeah, and then she pivoted and she launched Leading with the Heart. Today, she's sharing how to stop leading with your head and start living authentically. So, welcome,
Amazing.
Megan.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Hi. I think number one is just knowing that what your head is saying is rarely correct. You have to come to your heart for the true answers. So as far as, bad things happening in life, it's really just knowing that those are all external temporary things, but the heart will guide us. So regardless of what's in front of us, the head will analyze and freak out and be very incoherent and start sending your nervous system to crazy places. But your heart will remind you that you're okay, you're safe, and you just take the next baby step. When we're feeling crazy, we don't need to take big steps, but just baby steps. And that will get us right on the right path, because the head will take us down the path of we should have done more, we could have done more.
Right.
The heart will say, you didn't belong there. Those weren't your people. You've got more ahead of you. Take a breather, girl. Take a nap. Like just chill, and then start to get more aligned. Because even a big part of the heart is aligning with people who feel good. Like that's why I love you guys, because you guys, I know you're amazing, and we're not going to hang out with mean girls. We're going to hang out with supportive women. And
Right.
We are amazing. It's
We
true.
are.
She's
I know.
right.
Yeah. I'm the most amazing, but no, I'm just kidding. I'm the least amazing of the group.
Please.
But I did have a question for you. So for every woman listening or watching that is on the precipice of a life shift, whether chosen, expected, or not, what is something that they can do tomorrow morning that can help them get through that? Is that just stop listening to your head and listen to your heart and
One
nourish
little
that?
step. One little
step.
to do.
one little baby step, I would say go to the Heartmath Institute website. Just Google Heartmath Institute.
Heartmath,
Math.
M-A-T-H. Okay.
MATA Institute. And they have so many exercises, but I would say number one, just learn how to get your heart in a state of coherence.
Okay.
Because if you're in a scary place, your system is going to be crazy, and you're not going to be able to access anything good and deep. And so it's a short little breathing exercise. Start practicing that very every day if you can.
So you're saying it's a practice, and it's also sounds like it's a muscle. Like, of course, practice makes almost perfect. Let's not say we're not going for perfect.
better.
Yes, there you go. Practice makes better. So you're saying practice it, and also it sounds like the heart is a muscle. It's a muscle. Like you have to just be in the habit of going back. If you naturally go to the head, naturally maybe go to the heart.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said that, because I think because it's the heart, people feel like it should just be easy. Like, oh, it's love, yay! But it's anything is worth working for.
Yes.
And again, the heart is your own inner wisdom. You can't find this in a book, and it's going to be tailor-made for you. Like, there's no better use of your time than investing in your heart, in my opinion.
You make it look easy, but I know how hard that is to just not listen to the naysayers and just go for your dream.
Yeah.
It's crazy, because it's like, I just don't have any doubt anymore, and that's the thing about the heart, I just don't have doubt. It's like, I trust it that much, because I can't do anything but what it says, and I trust where it goes. So there's a lot of freedom.
That's a lot of it too.
Yeah.
Is trust.
Yes, trust.
Yeah.
That is.
Well, and giving up
Yeah.
fear.
And that's part of the trust,
or
right?
not giving it up, but having courage, meaning you might still be afraid, but
Yes.
you do it anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So because I will never be without fear.
Me too.
Ever.
I
I
gave
wake
up
up
that
every
dream.
morning afraid.
Do
I
you really?
Yeah. Every
Oh,
single
Corey.
morning I have to set my alarm a little bit early so that I can calm the fear and get on with my day. It's crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
it's so good that you know yourself, though,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the upside to that.
It is, because you're going to well, yeah.
I wake up
yourself,
with
you
fear.
psycho.
Well, but
No,
most
you're not
people would
psycho.
just be afraid and just lay there and go, "Well, yeah, I give up." And
I
you
guess
have
you just get used to it.
I guess yeah.
And also, the more I can follow what Megan's doing, I believe the more I can really practice and get better at that, the less I will feel that fear, because I'll be like, now I'm moving toward my yeses each day.
It's so true. And I wanted to add, or what were you going to say? Sorry.
I was gonna say, or like you wake up with fear. I wake up, no joke, I feel fine, and then throughout the day, I feel worthless.
Yeah.
I do. I lay there and I go, "What am I doing?" I used to
Start to beat yourself up.
all day,
Yeah.
all day yesterday. That's it. That's all I did all day yesterday was beat myself up.
I have the same. I mean, like, so I heard both of yours. Mine is like, no matter what, there's an underlying of it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough. And like, even though everything's fine, I'm like, I should be doing that. It's just a kind of, and it's not always that way, but I definitely have like,
Our thoughts
Oh,
are just
yeah.
not our friends. The thoughts are the mean girls.
Yes,
That's a
Corey.
good one. Write that book. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Do you
thoughts
think
are
that?
illegal.
Do you
You write
think
that book.
men have that same challenge to the degree that women do?
No, because they're stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, just kidding.
Their brains are waffles. Their brains have holes in them, so just stuff goes right through. It doesn't.
It's sifting. It's like sifting flour. So give us a little bit of your backstory.
You have a fascinating life that sort of led up to this big moment where you create Leading with the Heart.
I had a really tough childhood, like so many of us have. It was a very dark childhood, beginning with my father dying by suicide.
Oh, honey.
And that is, awful all on its own. And of course, it was really a tough time in our household. I was 5 when he died.
Wow.
And our household was very depressed. And my mom obviously was a single mother with 3 small children. So it was a very dark time. It really led to the downfall of our home life. And we were unfortunately in a very wealthy school district. And so I had to go between my home, which was dark and depressing, and then a very wealthy school district where I felt like an outcast because I wasn't dressed the same and I didn't have the dad and the mom in the typical household. So that was really what kind of turned a corner for me and led me to go down more of a rebellious path. But really, it was that moment at 7 that changed everything for me, because rather than really having a lot of shame about my dad and myself, I actually still had hope and wonder. So that was a saving grace. But
It's very insightful 7-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was-
and resilient. I mean, that
Resilient.
the strength you found within yourself to transform that story for yourself is impressive.
Thank you. I used to actually think I was pretty cool, but then I realized that a lot of it's innate. Like I used to think like, wow, I really worked my butt off to get here. But with a lot of reflection, I realized I did come into the world with a lot of innate talent. So although I am proud of where I am and, my belief system, I don't want anyone to think that I'm more special for any, because I came into the world with a huge, huge connection to my heart. When I was a little girl, I was like a Disney princess, just falling in love with, the trees. And I felt so much empathy and compassion for the world. So I was fortunate to come in that way. But,
that was who you were. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, I was tired of my heart wasn't saving me at a certain point. I had the mean girls at school. I had the really rough home life.
Yep.
We all know mean girls for
Oh
sure.
yeah, we noticed
Dude,
the collective sigh we just gave.
Yeah, we
when
all
we
were
heard
like,
Mean
oh,
Girls.
It's
We've
the
all had
bane
those.
of all of our
yeah.
existence. And just send me a list of them at the end of the show, and I will take care of
That's
it.
the Brooklyn side of Libby.
Yeah,
that's
Brooklyn's
gonna
got
go
your back.
Knock
Got
on
it all
some
done.
doors.
Yeah.
But even as a grown-up, we encounter Mean Girls.
Oh, yeah.
It's just they're everywhere.
Yeah, I had a life in LA that you all definitely can relate to, and I had a little bit of the LA mean girls as well. They're all shapes and
Yeah.
Yep.
All
never ends.
ages.
Yep.
Never ends.
So how did that transform, or how did that inform you, I guess? Because you went from recognizing your heart to then into producing. You didn't
in
quite.
between, and I'm sorry, I'm going to just insert the rest of your story for you, is that she sort of dropped out of school because the pain.
That's right. So it was around 12 years old that I said, screw this. I can't survive in this world, in either one of the worlds. And so I think what all of us do when we can't find comfort or belonging or connection, we default to where we can find success, even if it's down path.
That's right.
So I was like, you know what, I can do this rebel thing. And I actually really loved it because at least it was honest, at least it was free. It wasn't always pretty, but I did dive right into drugs and alcohol. I met the most amazing earth angel homeless person named Jimbo when I was 12. And he was a Vietnam veteran who had a very severe drinking problem, but he was a sweetheart. And he and I became the best of friends. And we built this little club of belonging amongst lost souls. And we even called it the Copacetic Club because Jimbo said everything's copacetic. And so we had a couple of deep years of friendship where we would, I eventually dropped out of school, but I would spend many days in fields with other society dropouts. We would drink beer, smoke pot, listen to music, write poetry. And it wasn't all poetry and beauty at all times, but it was so much better than that elitist kind of mean girl world that I couldn't survive in. So that was the freedom that I needed. It was what I needed at the time. But eventually I did stay self-reflective and I looked around me at what was happening to many of the lost souls. And I realized it was going to end in one certain direction. And I looked across the street and there was this warehouse of buildings. I said, I think I'm going to go check those stores out. And I walked over and I opened the door to one of them. And the man was just locking up and he said, can I help you? And there was a for hire sign. And I said, I'm here for the job. And I wrote 16 on the application when I was only 14. He hired me. And the reason that's significant is because it brought me back into the fold of functioning society. And one of my regular customers there worked part-time backstage security for a concert promoter. So a few years later, when I was 18, I called this customer and I said, are you guys hiring? And I pictured myself, maybe pouring sodas in the trailer out in the audience. And the owner of the company had just lost his assistant that very day. So he lined up an interview for me. And then at 18, I walked into the dream job of all dream jobs, producing concerts and events and booking entertainment. And so that was a beautiful gift. But that was kind of when things started turning for me around the age of 14. And I started coming back into the fold. I went back to school. I started advancing myself in that career. And then eventually, after beating myself to death, seeking perfection and getting sick by it so often, just exhausted, trying to prove myself against all those mean girls, I finally had a moment in my early 20s when I started to seek an internal path of success. And that really was the next big pivot.
You did not have a childhood. When you're 12 years old and you are saying, I give up on what other 12-year-olds are doing, you are immediately an adult when you shouldn't have to be.
Right.
And that's incredible that you were able to come out the other side and thrive. Few people would be able to do that. Few.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, it was definitely a tough time with, there's so many other stories packed in there that were really horrible things that happened along the way. But, really I go back to my heart and that's why I wrote this book. And I did vacillate back and forth. I still do. Some days I'm like, screw this. I hate everything. And, the next day I'm feeling my heart, like,
I have no idea what you're talking
so
about.
So you're human. Yeah. Corey has no clue. What do you hate things?
Hate everything.
What?
Yeah.
Hate everyone?
What is this hate word you're speaking of?
Exactly. No, I know.
So it seems like you always followed your instincts. Like you went from one day just dropping out of school to one day just getting a job because you decided that was the place to go. And then you decided to go to a concert. So how did you make the pivot to leave producing to go into what your next step is?
Well, so when I was producing, it was about 25 years in total, but I did start to become a sort of advisor, trusted resource, fixer of sorts to many of those clients because they trusted my work ethic and my quality. And I just had a natural kind of coaching way about me. I'm always the advice giver. If I love something, I want everyone to love it. So I kind of pivoted in that way with those clients, just starting to kind of shift my role with them. But I always knew I wanted to write. I always knew I wanted to be an author and a speaker. And I've known that for so many years. And the big shift for me was about 3 years ago. I was post-divorce. I was, taking a little breather from that whole life. And I looked at my path and it made sense to me to grow my agency. I said, this is the time I can go big. My head was so full of certainty of what I needed to do. It just made sense. So I did a little bit of a rebrand. I, hired people, spent tons of money, and started taking on clients that I wouldn't necessarily have taken on otherwise if I didn't have a bigger overhead. And so about 6 months after my huge announcement that I was going to go big, I was so burnt out and so miserable And I had to realize that I had screwed it up, that I had taken direction from my head and not my heart.
Wow.
And
6 months. Again,
and it was
quick.
really,
Wow.
Quick to recognize that.
yeah, it was, and it was embarrassing. There's shame
It
when
is.
you realize.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was like, it was very, it's so great to be adored and appreciated for being successful. And so it was a very big ego move for me, even though I really thought it made sense. But, it was exciting to tell people I'm growing and I'm available for more. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait, no, I'm not. And then the people that I hired, I'm like, I'm really sorry, but I made a mistake, all the things. So I sat there in this liminal stage, and that word is newer to me. Liminal is that you probably know it, but it's the in-between stage.
I don't.
Isn't it a gorgeous word?
Yes,
Liminal.
Yeah.
liminal.
It means the in-between. And
It's like a holding pattern.
Yes, it's like the chrysalis phase.
Yeah,
So basically, I was like, I've screwed up. I can't do this. I have to pivot. And then I just sat there and had to sit in the not knowing. And then I did have another beautiful awakening moment, which isn't always so perfect and pretty. But I took a weekend and just went totally silent, told everyone not to reach me, not to contact me, sat by the fireplace, took my dogs on walks. And I really got clear on what it was that I really wanted. And it's what I've always wanted, which is to be an author and a speaker and a writer. And so that was November of 2023. And I started the process. And 2024 was very much the liminal stretch. I would tell people I was writing a book, like I've said 5 million times before, I've written another book that I published.
Yeah.
So I had to sit that kind of like, I don't have anything to brag about. And I don't really know if I'm going to pull this off. But I knew that my head had no good answers for me. I knew that. And so I went with my heart, and I did everything I could to read about what it takes to finish a book. And I just did the grind. And I was, like I said, and there was all kinds of insecurity and doubt the whole way. But with time, it brought me to the other side, which is now my whole life is so much more fulfilling, so much more rounded out. And it really, in writing the book, it really gave me that conviction that it's so important that I never listen to my head and I always listen to my heart. And that's what it's all about for me. It's a practice.
Did you hear that? That weekend that you took, and you said you're basically on do not disturb, and you're just taking time, walking your dog, sitting by the fireplace, and taking that space for yourself. Did you hear that clearly? Were you able to already connect to your heart really strongly, or is that something that you feel like you've had to really work to develop more?
It's been a lifelong practice, and I've vacillated the whole way through, but I would say that was a very special moment where I could feel it because
a weekend, again, that very quick, and you must have a really strong connection already to your heart.
Wow.
Absolutely. And I also think when we burn ourselves out so hard, a lot of times we are able to listen in a new way. And that's really what the stage is about.
Because your heart is screaming at you by then.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and that's really the nature of the liminal phase. It's the one time that we will reconsider something new, because on paper, what I was doing made perfect sense. So I had to be like, wait, what? This is not it. Well, what is it then? And then I went back to, what have I always really yearned for? What's always lit me up? And I knew it was this. And so the logic part of me was like, well, if this is what lights me up, I must.
Isn't it so hard to reconnect to that? It's so hard because we lose track of that along the way, right?
Well, because you're so busy.
Yeah. And you're so busy listening to the voices that tell you that's not possible.
Yeah.
You're going to be embarrassed.
And the congratulations
Yes.
of like, oh, you're so successful.
Oh, yeah.
You've done so well. And you thought, well, this is just what it transformed into,
And that gets to a question that has to do with the do-overs, because this podcast is about women who are into that pivot, into that shift, and not just leading with your heart.
Yes.
But I love that that's something that you offer, and there are steps that normal people can take.
Well, and if you can say in simple words, what is that? What are the actionable steps to leading with your heart? Because while I love saying it, I don't know how to do it.
How do you turn off the head? That's exactly it.
That would be a trick for me.
Yes, no, absolutely. And it's definitely not just sentimentality. There is a strategic path forward. And
there's science to it, right? Yeah.
There is science. And I want to tell you about the simple way that you can take action right now. But I think it's important to start with just knowing that the heart is not just poetry. It actually is a very major power player in your life.
Yeah.
It has its own intelligence. It has its own neural network. it sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. It emits an electromagnetic field that can be measured up to 3 feet, whereas the brain's intelligence can only be measured 1 inch.
Oh my
So
God.
the heart is major.
Wow.
And when your heart is in a state of coherence, which means it's in harmony and with your brain and your body, when all systems are in heart coherence, you are a better human. You are more relaxed. You are more energized. You're more able to take action and make the best decisions.
Yep.
So
Cortisol levels all under control. Yeah.
Exactly. So just say that in the heart is the major power player. It's not a small thing. And there are ways to activate that state. So that's number one, is just to say like it is actually the smartest investment of our time, which is why I wrote the book, because I've been seeking answers my whole life. I've read all the books, I've taken all the courses, and I was frustrated that I couldn't find an answer, because I've always been looking for answers since I was trying to get out of my childhood. And it really pissed me off that I couldn't find the answer. And so when I realized the heart is the answer, it just changed everything for me, because it is uniquely answered by our own heart for every decision. So that's what gets me to our next part, which is how to use it in practice. And so I talk about 2 messages from the heart. One is the yes, like, yes, I'm elated, I'm inspired, I feel so good about that. And it can be small things or big things. Like for me, I love glowy, warm lights. I like to be in a space that's just very comfy and cozy.
Yep.
I like to listen to blues music. I love hot coffee. I love rainy days. All of those are big yeses to my heart.
Yeah.
And then there's the other side, which I call the ugs of the heart. And those are the things that deplete us, drain us, and make us miserable. For me, that's too much scheduling on my calendar or loud.
That is so me.
I was about to say
my
that's
God.
so you.
Oh, it's so me.
It is. You're like, I like to do one thing a day.
Otherwise, I'm not cozy.
Yeah.
To
I
say
love
the
that.
least.
Exactly. That's your yes. And so as a practice, we can, I encourage people to start with noticing what's on that list. And most of us can talk more about the UG list because we're used to, thinking about what we don't like in life. And so start to make your list and start to notice what lights you up and what drains you.
Yeah.
And then slowly start to add more of the yes and remove some of the ugs, big and small. And what happens is with practice, you start to really get into a relationship with your heart. And it'll surprise you. Like now I'm on autopilot with so many of these decisions. Like if someone asks me to do a weekly book club thing, I know that's an UG.
Yeah.
Like weekly commitments are an UG for me. So is that you too, Corey?
Weekly commitments, it depends. Like this being a weekly commitment, I'm okay with.
That's
But
a yes.
I'm not a joiner. Don't make
Yeah.
me be like a member of something where
too.
I have a commitment and an obligation every week. Just minimal obligations, please.
Do you feel, Courtney, because I feel this, I don't know if you feel this way, that if it becomes, it's weekly, even if I wanted to do it weekly, the fact that you're telling
That
me
it's
it
an
has to be
obligation.
weekly,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
what I'm saying.
I don't
Yeah.
want to do it anymore.
That's right.
And I want to run
That's
for
right.
it. No, thanks.
The rebel in you goes,
that's
no, I don't have to.
Yeah. Yes. Completely.
I don't have to do that. I'm a grown up.
That's why,
You're not the
that's
boss
why
of
I
me.
left you guys. Yeah, this is exactly why I'm feeling, right when I heard of you all, I was like, oh, I love them. Because you're just like, you're little rebels. I love it,
Well, and what you're saying totally makes sense. You just reminded me, I didn't even remember this, that about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago now, I, in my notes on my phone, because, it was only 5-6 years ago, I've given up on the notebooks. I have a list of things I love. Because if I have some time and I need, quick therapy, so to speak, I know that I love bubbles. I know I love chai. I know I
Wait,
love...
bubbles?
I do love bubbles. I like to watch people fucking blow bubbles.
Do you pop them?
That's so
just
fun.
love bubbles.
Pop them. Do you pop them?
No, see, you're the worst.
Oh my God.
I like
the joy of the
I know.
bubble.
I'm kidding.
But
I love bubbles.
More than
I love
bubbles, like
bubbles.
balloons, bubbles, hot air balloons. Like I love that. I
Fun.
love fire. I've got to have a fireplace. I love fire. So when you said that, I started making a list of things I love. And so it's exactly what you're saying. It's like I should really do what you're suggesting, which is incorporate those things into my life more. That is part of following the heart.
Yeah.
It is.
And giving it to ourselves.
Yeah.
And taking care of ourselves.
Yeah, that is my
I
self-care.
love that.
Yeah, you should make a list too. And then we'll compare, and maybe we'll spend more
Now
time
she
together.
won't
Maybe
do
we
it
won't.
because
Maybe,
Corey
maybe I'll
told her
decide I
to.
don't like you anymore. Our
Now
lists
you
are too
won't make the
different.
list. Yeah, Libby said.
Libby's
now that
not
I've
on the
told
list.
you to, now we're screwed.
Okay.
Okay. So yes. So be aware of the Uggs. Sorry about that.
No, I love it. You guys are a yes for my heart because I love this.
Oh, good. And by the way, we actually really do love each other.
I
do.
can tell.
We
Love
do.
it. I
Despite
love
the
it.
chaos.
Despite, yeah.
But it is important though to keep the list and pull it out, and actually, and the nuance is loving yourself enough and knowing how powerful it is to live from your heart to make it a priority, because that's the difference. When I look at every single day, there are some things I have to do, but I'm always looking at how does my heart want to do it? How can I make my heart happier in it? And I automatically trust it and I go with it. And so it's only gotten stronger and stronger. And now I apply it on a much bigger scale in everything I do. And it's really amazing because the heart will tell you to do things that you don't necessarily think makes any sense. And so that's important to know.
I don't think I've gotten to that yet. That's
It's
fun.
fun.
That is interesting.
And let me ask you a quick question about that before, because I'm so into what you're saying that I'm going along for the ride, and I want to just stop for a second. Are those very, I guess my question is, are they very sensory? Are these sensory things? Like, because for me, I know that when I really am feeling like I need to take care of myself, I start feeding my senses. I light a candle, I make the lights right. So I've got, I'm smelling something lovely. I'm seeing something lovely. I have a fire, so I have the warmth. I have some good music, and I've got sound. I really try, and I have a blanket. So I really try to like feed my senses. So is it sensory, or is that just something that's very, I don't know, it's simpler than what you're talking about?
No, I think your yeses are very similar to my yeses. I'm very sensory. I like the senses, but I think it is unique to each person. Not everyone needs all that.
Right.
But as far as were you asking about how it feels sensory to get a yes, or
No, I'm just saying, is that one of the contributors to this, to leading with the heart? Is it being aware of what senses you need to satisfy for yourself?
I would say it's unique to each person, and for some people it will lean more heavily that way than others.
I
But
see.
really, the idea is just to catch any time it's a yes for you. Like anytime you're like, whoo, that feels
Gotcha.
great.
Gotcha.
Or just recall the best moments or just the best things. Like,
Yep.
It can be clothing, it can be weather, whatever it is. But write it down, and then as much as possible, gift yourself that, because that is when you start to live from the heart, and it grows, and you end up building a beautiful life, which is what I've done today. I mean, my life is never going to be perfect. It's always going to be full of shit shows, as we say.
Right. Totally.
Yes.
And obligations, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Things you don't want to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Exactly. But you can always, but the more you give your heart, it shifts everything, and just who you are and the way you express yourself.
And when you worked a lot with, different leaders and different change makers, when you were a producer, was this something that you were developing with them? Was this something that you saw in the way they were living or making choices that helped you sort of refine your approach to this?
Yes, I would say the biggest lesson that I took from them was that, and you all know this from your work, it's like you think you're at the mountaintop and it's going to be glorious, and then you see behind the scenes and you realize it's really a hot mess. And so my biggest takeaway was being around these incredibly powerful people who had it all on paper. They were more often than not really quite a mess behind the scenes. So for me, and that's huge to learn.
Like 9 times out of 10.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is like it, and you have to keep reminding yourself of that. I mean, for me, because I would struggle with that. I would look at someone else's life or someone else's reality and be like, oh God, and have, and yearn for that and have envy or whatever. And once you accept and realize it's never what it appears to be, it's freeing.
Right. It is so freeing. And then it changes what you pursue, because I want the life that feels like the life I have right now, which is authentic. Yes. And that's the biggest luxury. And so when you see all those powerful, rich, famous, whatever people that are miserable and brittle and meltdowns, they achieved no success whatsoever. So that really freed me to walk away from lots of opportunities and not feel a single thing about it.
And that's the courage you talk about.
Yes.
When, again, we call this do-over, but when you go into a do-over or a pivot, the courage that it takes. and the courage that it takes to literally rest in being okay with walking away from something and feeding yourself something better in every sense, like you were talking about.
Even if it doesn't feel better in the
Yeah.
moment.
Even if it doesn't feel right.
Because
That's
walking
great.
away from the familiar is scary.
It's very hard.
Very scary.
I didn't get that job. I was just fired. My kids are now gone. What's my worth?
Well, and women blame themselves
Yes.
so much. It's not just, it was like, this is what I did to make that happen.
I should have worked harder.
Yes.
Yes. I should have
100%.
networked more.
It's my
Oh,
fault. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a few thoughts on that, but one of them is the brain is designed to keep us small and safe and breathing. The heart is here to expand us. So when I hear my brain
Well, that's
saying,
a fucking battle going on in your being. That sucks.
Two totally different,
And I feel that battle very often.
Yes.
Like I am definitely like a head person. And it's been really challenging in my life. Like I remember even, this is so embarrassing, honest to God, Megan, I can't even believe I'm saying this. But when I first started dating my husband, I because I was trying to attract better people to my life, right? And I knew him, we were good friends. And I was like, okay, I'll give this a shot. But it felt very pragmatic. And I'm like, this is not the way this is supposed to happen, and I used that word with my girlfriend either. I'm like, I'm making a pragmatic decision and this is a smart decision.
That's
for myself.
romantic.
And right? That's what I'm saying.
I
it was
know.
not at all romantic.
I know.
It was my head.
Yeah.
And then fortunately it transformed and I fell in love.
Yeah.
But and then I was like, oh, maybe there was a little bit of heart decision in there, but I didn't know that. I was really leading with the head and I lucked out. But, that was my go-to always in the head. And you're right. It keeps things small.
it does. I mean, and that's, but I find security or comfort in knowing that, because when my head says all those horrible things, like all of us, I can say, well, that's not true. It's designed to detect constant threats. So I don't take my head seriously. So if I have a down day, which I do, I mean, I had this weekend was a crappy weekend for me. I wasn't feeling great. I just know that's time to comfort myself. Okay, so what are some yeses I can give myself? I don't push myself. The brain says being in a place that we're not used to being, because we're so used to being in our heads and thinking we just need to run harder and push harder. But this is the path forward, and we're seeing it in the world. That it's this different way of being. It's this more feminine approach. It's relaxing, expanding. It doesn't have to be pushed. It doesn't have to be harder. So to me, it's just the best investment, and it just takes practice though. And I'm still practicing it, but it's the best thing I've ever done.
In your experience, have you had a lot of people who have come to you or who you have communicated with who say, like, for example, oftentimes over the years, I would be told, just listen to your gut on that one. And I swear to you, I do not have a gut instinct. I hear nothing. I was so head focused. I never have a gut feeling about anything.
Really?
Yeah,
never.
you do.
That
No, I do
surprises
not.
me.
I have a knee jerk and I have an intellectual, but I do not
Maybe when
have.
she's yelling at us, I think it's
Well, that's my authenticity, Libby.
Maybe when she's yelling
That's
at
my
us. That's her-
truth.
I thought she had a
That's
gut.
your-
She was just angry.
She was just...
But yes, that's my rage. That is not
That's
my
her
gut.
fire.
Sorry.
That's her Corey fire.
Right,
her
exactly,
core part.
exactly.
But that's a good
But
question.
yeah. have you experienced a lot of people who are like, I mean, because when you're saying, you're leading with the heart, that to me sounds not synonymous, but close to what's your gut telling
I was
you,
going to say
right?
the same thing, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's similar in a way, but we have to be careful because the gut can be more about
Impulsive.
the fears of the past.
Yes.
So I think you'll know it's a yes from the heart if it's expansive. Because for example,
see.
growing my business, my gut was like, yeah, it was like,
course.
hello. I was so happy, or so doing what I thought I should do.
Yeah.
And then my heart was like, no, you're actually not happy
I
doing.
see. So it's sort of a softer voice that you have to listen to.
It
Gut
is
might drive you, but it is too impulsive, and it's maybe too connected to the head.
I think it can be, but I think
Okay.
that the heart can be a louder voice with practice. So it's just not a natural default for us. We haven't learned this.
Especially
We
as
weren't-
women. I got to be honest, as women, we're taught to prepare, plan, think, do, please, serve, and that is a lot of in our heads.
Well, we're
Right?
taught not to listen to
yeah.
our heart because our heart isn't logical, isn't going to get you where you need to go.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, speak for yourself.
No, I agree with you.
No,
Thank you.
we
Jill.
are taught-
We're doing our own podcast.
Go for it.
No, go ahead.
No. I agree. No, I mean, I was saying speak for yourself. I am in line with you, but I think some people do.
Right.
I was going to say, I'm logical also, but I think some people already have, sort of a heart voice.
And I'm very logical too, believe it or not. I mean, I'm very much in my head. So it's not an easy thing for me to do. It's just that I've come to trust it so much that I think it's just knowing that you can start small with baby steps. You'll earn more trust with time. It doesn't have to be the big decisions just yet, but you'll start to trust it, because by following our heart and taking its messages as proof of what we should be doing, you start to see the changes in your life, because a lot of times we're doing things that are just so unnecessary, but we can't even think about it because we're on autopilot. So if the heart has more say, then the brain can calm down and we can have a much more vital state and energized way of being.
Wow. And that can deal with grief. It can deal with change. That's really wonderful.
Big with change, I would
Big
think.
with
Yeah.
change, yeah. And
Yes.
and that's
Yes,
happening
we have
a
to be
lot.
easy on ourselves
Yes.
during change. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great way of putting it, actually.
You said easier on ourselves? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the gentlest, most loving thing we can do. And I think self-love, especially as women, it's hard to access because we're just not used to thinking about ourselves. But I think of it as my duty to show up as the most beautiful, biggest person I can, so I can contribute and provide meaning to the world. And I can't do that if I'm a shell, if I'm a brittle, stressed out woman. I have to be full. I have to be luminous. And you cannot be that unless you're honoring your truth and your wisdom. Wow. And it's just so beautiful because it's yours. It's in your heart. I mean, I love that we each have our own. There's not one way. It's so unique to us. And that's just so special. Get to know it and follow it. Yes, Libby.
And you're saying that this approach isn't just about making you feel better, but it's also about sort of your approach to life, getting all the things you might want in a different, more authentic way, getting yourself into the world in a way that is happier. Or am I misunderstanding?
Because we think we know what we want, but what we think is a product of the past. I mean, that's the thing. Our brain is designed to keep us the same as yesterday. And we don't want to be yesterday. None of us do. It's small. Yeah, we want to expand. And so the brain is going to just keep telling us to do the thing that keeps us the same. So in order to have more, if we can trust the heart, it'll bring it to us in ways we never would have imagined. I never thought it would make practical sense to do what I'm doing now. And now it's the only thing I want to be doing. So it has a way of surprising us. But again, start small. I think it's, not eating the whole elephant at once is important.
Right. At heartmath.com?
Yes. So Heartmath Institute, they've been the premier organization studying the science of the heart for over 30 years. They are the wizards. They are the geniuses. And their work is incredible. And it is their science is so deep, and it's going to change the world when more people know about their work. And it's happening at a rapid pace now, but it's really exciting because now we know that the heart really is the major player.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That is exciting.
And can you tell us about your book also and your website as well?
Yeah.
Sure. So Leading with the Heart comes out October 14th, and it's part...
Wow.
Yes, thank you. So excited. So it's part memoir, part prescriptive. So basically it's a lesson from my life in each chapter, a story from my life, a lesson that I learned, and then exercises for the reader. So that's Leading with the Heart. And I'm on socials at Meghan Cathlin, and it's MEGHAN
Great.
That's amazing.
Thank
you so much.
I need you to come to my house and wake up with me every morning.
I know.
And tell me how to lead with my heart.
Yes, remind you.
Yeah.
Hi, Jill.
Hi. Hello.
Hi. Right at your bedside.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be weird at all.
And what's funny is, I'd have to interject this. I feel like both of you actually do lead with your hearts. I'm shocked to hear that you don't.
Oh, no, I never.
Oh, I feel like
I
my
do.
brain's in charge.
Well,
I'm
most
going
of
to
the
start
time.
today, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of Meghan.
Oh, no, look at your podcast. This is all hearts. I mean, this is women just, going into their yes, for sure.
Thank you.
Definitely was. Because it
it's so
wasn't my
heartless.
gut.
We are.
It wasn't. It was like there were moments where you go, no, I want to run from this. And, and we're here. And I'm
here we
so
are.
glad I listened to my heart, not my head, that told me this was hard. and listen to my heart.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. We will see you next week
on Do Over Divas.
On Do Over Divas.
See ya.
See ya.
New episodes of Do Over Divas dropping every week, wherever you get your podcasts.